Today we're going to make some inspiring leaders for my custom chapter. I wanted to make them rich in character through their posture and focus the attention onto the helmet designs. After that, it'll be up to how I paint them to tell more of the story of heroes standing against the grim dark horrors. The Imperium needs more heroes, so we're going to build these three right now. Let's begin with our Marine with a Pegasus crest. The Pegasus is a symbol of untamed swiftness and noble power, so we're going to apply that to the brutality of this model. One with a fanatic stature, a hero who is an obelisk against chaos and Xenos alike. To achieve this, we're going to arm him with a relic and a more hardy shoulder pad. Before any cleaning and gluing, let's take a look to see how these additions would look for the model. I think these are going to be perfect for him. We're going to clean up the relic first, taking care of the mold lines. Checking as we go. That's all set. Now we're going to make sure the surface that it is attaching to is nice and clean. Again, cutting away and filing where needed. I feel like this relic balances out the model, where we have the inspiring nature of the crest and the stature of the model, yet holding this relic is both a horrid warning and an inspiring intoxication. Almost as if being exposed to it, there's some sort of psycho-radiation from its very existence. Just finalizing the angle of the hand and the relic. Awesome. Let's go ahead and move on. To replace the shoulder pauldron, we're going to have to take off the arm completely. There's a lot of plastic to get through, and we're going to break it on down to try and get this piece set. Which means more cutting and more filing. Being careful not to hit any other part of the model, and also bring back some of the detail. Some of this work really isn't required since it's covered by the cloth on the shoulder pauldron. However, I just like to be thorough because you never know what might peer through. Clear the trimmings, going through with our filing, and knife a few more times, just to finish this area off. And trying on the shoulder, everything looks good. As I said, most of it's covered up, so it wouldn't have mattered, but I like to make sure just in case. So we're going to go ahead and put the arm back on. I thought for a moment on different positions I might want, but ultimately I liked his gun being in a downward position. This made sure all the attention stayed upward towards the relic. We'll go ahead and get this arm glued back on. Now to clean up the shoulder pad. Mainly on this section where the molding really didn't make much of a difference between the shoulder pad and the cloth. So I just wanted to exaggerate it a little bit more. That way when I'm painting it, there's more of a distinction. That's all done. So we'll go ahead and clean up the mold lines around the rest of the bit. I actually really enjoyed adding this bit to the model. It makes him feel more hazardous and fanatic. Nice and easy, and it looks good. I think this model really balanced out between the Pegasus crest, the Vile relic, and the Bulwark shoulder pad. For our second hero, he'll be represented by the Boar, a stubborn, hard to kill bulwark against the dark. This model doesn't need too much more, so we're just going to add a purity seal and fix the knife on the head. I'm thinking of putting this Black Templar's purity seal right here on the shoulder pad. This model already has 2 other purity seals on the weapon, so I don't think he needs too much more. And it's gone. Yep, just right there. Giving it a few seconds before I tweak it how it needs. A little bit off center. And that's set. Easy peasy. Fixing this knife in the Boar should be easy. I'm just going to throw on a little bit of glue, push it back, and hold it in place. I'm also going to remove some of the excess, that way it doesn't mess with the model. And just maintaining it until it takes hold. There, that was easy enough. And for our final hero, we have the Bearer of the Eagle, acting as an icon of the Imperium himself. This model already looks pretty solid, so there's just one thing we have to change. We're going to take off the original helmet on his waist, and we're going to replace it with his Black Templar's pouch. So we're just going to clip this out, piece by piece. A lot of the stature in these models come from the converted heads that we have, and since that brings so much pointed detail to the model, we don't need to add too much more. Just enough to use as cleanup on areas in the original model, or simply add 1 to 2 trinkets. This makes sure that the model isn't too busy, there's not too much going on, and it reflects that they only care about 2 things, the Imperium and their efficiency. Now we're just going in with a knife, reconstructing the armor plates that the helmet was hiding. That way, whatever the pouch isn't covering, every bit will look complete and clean. So we're working around the rear plate, the belt, the leg, and the soft joint armor. That's coming along well enough. Just referencing our bit to see if there's any other work we have to do. We have a few spots. Just making sure that the soft armor maintains good detail. And cutting into a few spots to make sure that there is actually enough space for the pouch. Ending with some filing, just to smooth everything out. Getting rid of all the dust. It's looking good, just checking all the angles. Now we're just taking off the mold lines for the pouch itself. And let's put it in place. I actually think a lot of models shine with the less it has on it. That as long as there's 1 or 2 centerpiece bits to show a story, the paint scheme and the pose should give him enough character and display some sort of lived history, all on its own. Alright, our last hero is complete, and that pouch looks good. And there we have it, 3 inspiring leaders for my custom chapter. I really appreciate how much character these helmets bring to these models. It really gives them a strong identity, both in the lore of their chapter's culture, but also this feeling that's so far away from Terra. They maintain the traditions of its glory and its power, pushing onward for the sake of humanity and the Emperor. Between these models, you can actually see how my paint scheme started to develop. At first I tried to make the paint scheme a little bit more modular, and I found that to be a little too messy for Space Marines. And so I came up with this quartered pattern, and though this model never was completed, you can see the direction I wanted to go, and how we'll be painting them in the future. Here is actually a clip of a more completed model with this paint scheme, and in our next video, we'll go through and update these colors and use different techniques. If you appreciated these conversions, please give this video a like. If you want to follow the progression of these heroes, hit subscribe and tune in for when we give these warriors some proper paint. Thank you for watching. Phantom out.